Hello, my name is Patrick. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and this week I turned 30 years old. For my 30th birthday, I thought it would be fun to rank my 30 favorite games of all time and tell the stories behind gaming's impact on my life. I also want to help create news stories and help bring that magic of video games to those who need it. So I asked that the only gift for my 30th birthday be $30 donations to our nonprofit Chicago Loot Drop. That money will be used to bring video games to local children's hospitals, schools, and youth programs, so I hope we can truly make a difference in these kids' lives. You can find the donation link in the description below. For the list itself, the only rules are one game per franchise, the game must still be fun to play today, and every game must have some kind of personal connection attached to it. I'm going to save the final 10 for a separate video so we don't make this too long, but I truly poured my heart and soul into this, so thank you so much for all your support and for taking the time to watch essentially how gaming became my life's passion. So, enjoy. By the way, these are the games that just missed the cut. I'm sorry. Journey is a game that is barely a video game. All you do is walk around, float sometimes, and make weird noises. Yet it's a game that blends its gameplay with its story, music, and setting in a way that feels almost spiritual. I remember playing this game in one sitting with all the lights off in the room, sound on full volume, and for a brief 2 hours, I had never felt so peaceful in my life. Can't explain where I was, can't explain how I felt, but I know no other game has made me feel the way Journey did. The best part though, is my sister felt the exact same thing, and I'm glad that we both share that together. Sunset Riders is this 2D shoot 'em up for the Super Nintendo that's crazy underrated. You blast outlaws, upgrade weapons, and most importantly, you can do it all with a friend. This is one of the only games my dad played with me as a kid. He wasn't the biggest fan of video games, but I had a lot of fond memories staying up with him playing this game. My dad and I have had a rocky relationship over the years, but I'll always cherish these memories of playing Sunset Riders with him and us needing each other to make it through the game. Na, 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 na. Mirror's Edge is this really cool first-person platformer centered around parkour movements to create one of the most unique games I've ever played. I remember when I first got my Xbox 360, there was a free demo of the game that I would play over and over again because I couldn't afford the actual game. But once I finally did get to play the real game, I would show it off to so many of my friends because of how cool it was and how different it was from playing anything else at the time. Mirror's Edge to this day is so much fun to play, and one of the first Xbox 360 games I just had to have.
Kill all sons of bitches. That's my official instructions.
Left 4 Dead 2 is the best co-op game ever made. The amount of time my friends and I pumped into this game on Xbox Live and Steam is insane. The best part about this zombie shooter is without teamwork, it is impossible to win. You cannot be a hero in this game and run off and do your own thing. You either operate as a well-oiled team or you lose, plain and simple. When you had a group of friends just messing around, it was a lot of fun. But when you had 4 serious players fully committed to teamwork, that's when this game is at its absolute best. Call of Duty 4 is that game that everyone in high school played together. Funny story, when I got this game, I didn't have the wireless adapter for my Xbox 360, and my dad was not a fan of me playing shooters like this. So I took this 75-foot Ethernet cord and ran it all the way from my room, down the stairs, through the living room, into the kitchen, and connected it to the router to play online. And I had to lie to my dad and tell him that it was for my school computer or wait till he fell asleep so I could hook it back up. My high school class was a group of good guys. All of us had Call of Duty 4, and we all had a lot of fun playing together. Okay, so Batman Arkham Asylum has one of my favorite stories that has nothing to do with the game itself. So Breen was so hyped for this game, and I kept telling him it looked awful. Then he goes and pre-orders the collector's edition that came with like a model Batarang in a big box. It was like 150 bucks, and I like ridiculed him for the move. All he did was just shrug his shoulder at me the whole time. So the game comes out, and surprisingly, it's like really good, like all-time excellent. I remember beating it like 4 times before I even bought the game. It was that good. Of course, Breen loved it, but to his credit, he never gave me an "I told you so" until one day I walked up to him and I told him he was right. I apologized for doubting him and making fun of him and doubting his excitement, and I admitted it was the most wrong I had ever been about a video game. Breen looks me in the eyes with a friendly shoulder tap, and he says, "Don't you ever doubt me again, Robin," and then walked away. I mean, he was right. It's a really good game.
Oh, no, 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 no!
A lot of games try to nail that cinematic movie feeling, but I feel like Uncharted 2 is one of the few games that figured out how to do it right. I chose the Xbox 360 over the PS3, so I couldn't play this game right away, but when I finally did get my PS3, this was the first game I went for. It felt like the next evolution of what games could be. They could truly make you feel like you were in a movie and that you were part of the action. Scenes like the train sequence and the rooftop chase are so insane and so exciting to be a part of. Throw in an excellent multiplayer and an enjoyable story, and you have a recipe for one of gaming's most entertaining series. This is going to be a little weird, but Gears 3's beta is actually what makes this list. Yeah, I know, it's weird to have a beta on this list and not the full game, but honestly, my best memories of Gears were playing the beta with my 4803 GameStop crew at Northgate Mall. Jeff, Brian, Brooke, Sean, Billy and I, it felt like every night this beta was live, we would log in and play the hell out of it together. Not only that, we were a really good team too. It's up there with my favorite memories of playing games with friends. Those guys are truly a special group of people. I'll always remember our time together and how much ass we all kicked in Gears 3's beta.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
My Xbox 360 was the first thing I ever bought with money for my first job. The second thing was the $200 full Rock Band 2 set. Actually, since moving to Chicago, one of my favorite things to do is go to this gaming bar in Skokie called Ignite, because they have 2 soundproof Rock Band rooms that we just get hammered drunk in and go crazy in. I don't have a favorite song, but give me some pop punk classics like Blink and Fall Out Boy and it's on. Rock Band 2 is my favorite because of the song lineup, but this whole spot could have been taken by any music games that you play with your friends.
GG!
Overwatch is a game I not only poured so many hours into with friends, but its accessibility for so many different types of players is what makes it a favorite of mine. Overwatch has so much diversity and care put into each character. None of them play the same, and there's so much more to do than just go shoot that other guy. Playing as a tank and eating the damage, playing as support and healing your teammates, playing defense and cutting off other teams' access points or setting up turrets and support areas. There's always a character that fits how you want to play. You don't have to be good at shooters or even like them to enjoy this game. It's just another example of a great game that figured out how to bring people together. Catherine is this puzzle horror game about cheating on your girlfriend with a succubus. Yep, that's it. Next.
Welcome to the circus.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, about moving on to the next game. Everything I said about this game is true. It's weird as hell, and was first recommended to me by my old GameStop manager, Jeff. Man, he called his shot with this one. It's filled with originality from top to bottom, and its addicting puzzle mechanics had me hooked from beginning to end. The story, as you could guess, is weird as hell, but its challenging ideas about relationships kind of make the insanity feel real at times. One time on a first date, I was invited back to this person's place to help beat a Catherine level she was stuck on, and after beating it on like the first try, fair to say that she was pretty impressed and made for a great first impression. Cheers to the games with fearless ambition and originality.
Welcome to the Circus of Values.
Honestly, I could go either way with BioShock or BioShock Infinite. I think both are amazing games for different reasons, but the more I thought about it, when I try to show someone who doesn't know or care about video games a new game, and my goal is to grab their attention and keep them intrigued in the story, I show them the first BioShock. One of the greatest settings in all of video games, the powers and weapons in this game are so unique and creative. Story twists come out of nowhere, it's unsettlingly creepy, and there just isn't anything else like it. It's a game that lingers in your thoughts long after you've beaten it. Alright, this next one's a little tough for me, so just bear with me.
Since you're the mysterious superhero, I'll be your faithful chauffeur and companion.
Life is Strange is a game that helped spark an amazing relationship in my life with a very special person. When my ex and I first started talking, we both shared that we were playing this game, and the connection was immediate. Some of my favorite memories with this person were breakdowns and debates over decisions we made in the game, and how much we gushed over its main characters. We went to cons as Chloe and Max, we would report back to each other theories we read online, and in my playthrough when I made my final decision in the game, she was sitting right there next to me, excited to not only talk about it, but more excited to love sharing our Life is Strange experiences and feelings together. My favorite thing about this person was how she unabashedly loved things, how she loved sharing those things with the people she cared about, and how I was very fortunate to be one of those people. Every time I see Max or Chloe, I think of this amazing person and how we both share an unconditional love for video games and the happiness that they bring to the world.
We'll make it.
Halo was always the game all my cool friends played, and since I was never a cool kid not owning an original Xbox, I would be so excited to play at a friend's house and be a cool kid for once. When Halo 3 came out and I finally got my 360, I was online constantly, but the best times with Halo were the LAN parties. There's no gaming experience like trying to communicate to your mom why these 16 people had to bring in 4 TVs, 5 Xboxes into a single room filled with Doritos, Funyuns, and Mountain Dew and play a video game for 2 days straight.
Not enough minerals.
StarCraft II was always the game I wanted to be so good at, and then never was. I remember my last year of high school and first 2 years of college, I was obsessed with climbing the multiplayer ranks. True story, my band teacher, Mr. Fisher, wiped the floor with me in this game every time we played. And even as I got better and better, it was never close. This game has so much depth to it, and the way that you manage units and build macros is so satisfying when you are fully engaged and firing on all cylinders. I'm not a big PC gaming guy, but this is definitely my favorite PC game. Celeste is a timeless masterpiece about self-worth, anxiety, and confronting your darker self to achieve personal growth. And if this list didn't have so much nostalgia, I can make an argument that this game could be near the top. It's a game that understands how a player feels and uses its gameplay to make every accomplishment, not only for you, but for the main character, earned and rewarding. The main character's struggles are very real, and this game understands how relatable they are to the player, and you explore these feelings together. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a scene in the middle of this game that tackles anxiety and discomfort so perfectly that I actually used this calming technique in real life to help me through a really difficult moment. This game is truly something special, and in my opinion, it's the best indie game ever made. Tetris is a perfect video game. Such a simple idea executed so perfectly, I could argue that this is the greatest game ever made. I love its versus multiplayer versions like Head to Head, Tetris 99, and Puyo Puyo Tetris. I love atmospheric versions like Tetris Effect, but my personal favorite as a kid was Tetris Plus on the PlayStation 1, where you had to help a treasure hunter to the bottom of this map as spikes came down trying to kill him. There's really not much else to say. It's Tetris. It's a great game that I'm insanely good at and have enjoyed playing my whole life. Enough said. Pokemon Yellow, my yellow Game Boy Color, and I were inseparable when I was a kid. I was obsessed with everything Pokemon. I had all the original cards, I watched the show every Saturday morning, and I played Pokemon Yellow every single day. I get motion sick reading in cars, and one time on the bus ride to school, I was so determined to beat the Elite Four, I got really sick and had to be sent home, even though it was self-inflicted by my lack of self-control playing Pokemon. I also adored Pikachu as a kid, so having the yellow version and a yellow Game Boy felt so prideful, and I always love watching that animation when you load the game up. Admittedly, I've fallen out of love with what Pokemon has become, but Pokemon Yellow will always be a childhood favorite I still have fun playing today.
Round one. Fight!
In my opinion, fighting games are one of the best gaming genres that brings people together. The fighting game community alone has lore and stories of its own players, let alone its games, and I consider this spot more the traditional fighting game spot, even though I have to pick a specific game. So I want to put Street Fighter II in this spot because that's where I fell in love with fighting games, and that's where I met one of my favorite video game characters ever, Chun-Li. But that game really doesn't hold up that well, and those games mechanically have improved and evolved a lot since. So I'm going to go with Street Fighter V. I've competed in tournaments all across the country, and Chun and I play at our highest level in this version of the game. Again, there are plenty of fighters that could probably be here, but for me, if I could only bring one fighting game to a friend's house, it would be Street Fighter V. Not to mention, my girl looks fire in this game. If you would have asked me a few years ago which Final Fantasy was my favorite, I would have told you Final Fantasy VI. But I have to say, even though I think 6 is the best game, and I have a soft spot for 10 beating it in one weekend left alone at my cousin's place, after playing the remake over quarantine, my favorite's Final Fantasy VII. As a kid, I really liked this game, and as an adult, I fell in love with it and its importance in making video games what they are today. I think the remake helped me appreciate things in the original so much more, and that opening cutscene alone, I still show to friends, proving to them that video games can be very impressive. Similarly, when it was released back in 1997, this game is a great introduction to newcomers of the RPG genre, while also having many unique aspects to keep it from blending into other games of its kind. It has timeless visuals, an excellent cast of characters, a deep combat system, an immaculate soundtrack, and a storyline so legendary it's still talked about to this day. If Final Fantasy VII is at number 11, that should tell you just how special and magical these last 10 games truly are.